And the first thing you notice while driving this thing is it feels like a proper full-size SUV.
The Tata Harrier has caused a lot of ripple in the mid-size SUV segment ever since its launch in January 2019. We have it with us for a week. The Harrier is all about style and presence. With a proper butch SUV face, staunch shoulders because of the bulging wheel arches, and a good amount of bulk. This is Tata's Impact Design 2.0, and it does a pretty good job of getting second glances while on street.
So I'm taking the Harrier for a spin, and the first thing you notice while driving this thing is it feels like a proper full-size SUV. Now I say full-size SUV because this thing sits a class below the Fortuner, the Endeavour, the Isuzu MOTOARC and the Altura's G4. But driving them feels pretty similar. I lined this thing up besides the Pajero Sport that my neighbour has, and the size are pretty similar. The engine up front is a 2-litre diesel sourced from Fiat. It's actually the same engine that you find in the Compass and the Hector. It's detuned in the Harrier and gives out 140 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. Of course, there is a more powerful version of the Harrier coming up, which will offer 170 horsepower and I am guessing 400 Newton meters of torque as you get in the Hexa. Talking of the current version, while you drive, you can hear quite a bit of engine drone that filtrates into the cabin. But Tata is also working on an update that will take care of the NVH levels. Also with that update, you will get a better clutch system. I guess because the clutch is too deep while driving can be a tedious job. The Harrier gets 3 driving modes: City, Eco and Sport. And for off-the-road stuff, you have the wet driving mode and the rough road driving mode. The Harrier competes with the recently launched MG Hector, the Kia Seltos, the XUV 500 and the Hyundai Creta. I'd like to imagine that to drive, the Harrier is the best balance among its rivals. I've driven the Creta, I haven't yet driven the Hector, but all in all, from all the feels that I get while I'm driving this thing in various terrains, I'd say the Harrier is a perfect balance for a driver. Sure, like the Hector, it doesn't get a sunroof, it doesn't get as big of a screen and misses out on some of the features that the Hector offers. But I won't complain. It's a good car. The Harrier gets disc brakes up front and drum brakes at the rear, and they have a good bite. The pedal feel is good, there is a good amount of bite right on the top of the pedal, and further, the braking is very consistent. The suspension up front is directly taken from the Discovery Sport, while the rear is tuned by Lotus. Yes, you hear it right, Lotus. It soaks up all the bumps very well. There is an occasional thud that you get if you pass through a pothole very fast. And the first thing you notice is how very well appointed the interior is. Everything is well within the reach and the materials are very rich. You get the floating touchscreen system, you get leather seats, brown leather, and it is a very rich looking interior. The seats are very supportive and the view around is very commanding. The mirrors are huge and offer a great visibility, but cause a huge blind spot in corners, which can be troublesome while driving through city roads. To sum it all up, I would say the Harrier, it's a great driver's car. Let's list the pros and cons. Pros: the style, the looks, the amount of second glances it gets while on streets. It's immense. The interior quality, it's great. It's unrecognizable as a Tata. The infotainment system, the speakers, the sound system, it's fabulous. It's just fabulous. Cons: well, the noise of the diesel engine that filtrates into the cabin. Clutch, there is a lot of travel which is quite tiresome while in traffic. Thirdly, the infotainment system's interface, it's very laggy, it's a bit slow. However, take note that Tata is already working on an update which will take care of all these small niggles. So otherwise, it's a really brilliant SUV. Kudos Tata. Bye.